Good morning. Good morning. We want to make it clear why we're here. We're here because Kim Foxx was elected on a promise by the people that she would rethink the justice system.
Yes, sir.
Since her term began, we have seen that come to fruition. We've seen it in action. And that action has incited some outrage for some other people. But let me remind you that that outrage is nothing compared to the hundreds of years that our community has been outraged. And so we stand today to send a clear message that it won't be tolerated, that Kim does not stand alone, that all of us here today stand with us, with her, on behalf of our community. So, I'd like to begin this press conference in the most appropriate way, especially considering that we're here in the sanctuary, with a prayer by Reverend Will Hall.
Let's bow our heads. God, for this moment, we say thank you.
Thank you.
You commanded us to love justice. And so, God, we thank you for the daughter that you created that has led the way. And God, in this moment in time, we pray that you give her strength. We pray that you give her insight. Surround her with the strength that she needs to carry the load that's on her back. And so, God, we come this moment to say thank you again for all those that she has set free, for all the legislation that is moving on the behalf of the least and the left out. Continue to use her and all those that are able. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Who wrote that for Will?
Oh, my God. Right.
Who wrote that for Will?
And our next speaker that I want to bring up is someone who helped usher in that justice. When we talk about accountability, when we talk about our community not just voting, but mobilizing around candidates that support the best interests of our communities. That person is J. Mal Greens. J. Mal, please join us. Today, you know, I'm a little flabbergasted. We're here to stand with State's Attorney Kim Foxx. She is someone who we marched on the streets for when Anita Alvarez covered up the tape of the Quan McDonald's murder. And I just being here, I just started to think about that time. When the Quan McDonald, the 17-year-old boy, was shot 16 times, where were these people who's out on the streets now?
Right.
Demanding justice for a young black boy.
Listen.
Where were they when many families spoke up, wanted justice, and we spent $1 billion in police misconduct over the last 10 to 15 years? Where was that outrage? It just shocks me that now we have a black state's attorney who has promised to reform the state's attorney's office, and she wanted to, she didn't prosecute a low-level felony on someone, and now we have this type of outrage. But we have a 15% clearance rate, but we have, even numbers are in single digits if you're shot and you stay alive. We're worried about Jussie Smollett instead of finding those actual murderers that she can put to justice. That makes no sense. That the 85% of murderers in the city of Chicago are roaming free, and they're not talking about what the detective division in the police department should be doing. Rather, Kim Foxx not prosecuting a low-level felony that wouldn't provide any jail time for him anyway. We're going to stand with Kim Foxx. She has made good on her promises. She is the first black female state's attorney in Cook County, but we gotta look at what this really is overall. This is not just an attack on Kim Foxx. This is an attack on black elected officials throughout this state. Just so happened that tomorrow we're about to elect a black female mayor. We already have a black female lieutenant governor, Cook County clerk, possibly a treasurer. Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, and now this selective outrage over such a small case. We know what this is really about, and we will not stand for it. We are going to stand with Kim Foxx and stand because what she's doing is she has been an inspiration to young people all throughout this state and all throughout this world.
Yes, sir.
She has showed them that you can be a prosecutor that actually prosecutes correctly and make sure that you're not focusing on the wrong things. Like they have been so long with marijuana convictions, and now they're gonna make a lot of money for it. She has said she is going to be a progressive state's attorney, and that's what she has been. And today, as activists, as leaders all over, we are going to stand with her and usher her in a new term come the upcoming year, and we're going to make sure that Kim Foxx stays a state's attorney as long as she should. Thank you.
Next person comes from the organization that's been standing
Had to be a little Malcolm.
resources, when you talk about standing up for working class people, people that want to make a difference, people that just work hard. We're so glad to have with us Ms. Erica Bland, the political director of SEIU.
All right. Good morning. My name is Erica Bland, Vice President of SEIU Healthcare Illinois, a union that represents tens of thousands of hard-working people in Chicago who have cried out every day for attention to the unsolved crimes that have occurred in our communities. I am here today to stand on the side of justice, to stand on the side of working families, to stand on the side of a black woman, and today that means proudly standing with State's Attorney Kim Foxx. As a black woman, I am appalled at the mayor and the police superintendent's righteous indignation over the outcome of the Jussie Smollett case, when there has been no sense of outrage from the mayor or the superintendent about numerous black women who have been reported missing on the south and west sides of our city, even though our communities have been publicly calling attention to this issue. I have not seen or read a sufficient explanation from you, Mr. Mayor, of why you participated in the cover-up of the Laquan McDonald murder by police officer Van Dyke. Nor have I heard you apologize to the community that has been impacted by the cover-up. So I will ask you today to apologize to our community for your role in the cover-up with the same passion that you are now showing in the Smollett case. Right. I believe that Kim Foxx is a strong black woman that the mayor, the police chief, and the Fraternal Order of Police view as a threat to their established power. Right. They've attacked her from day one. Since her election, Kim has worked to release people who have been wrongly convicted by the same corrupt leadership of the Chicago Police Department that is now attacking her. She has worked to get rid of a cash bail system that has historically torn families apart in our community. She's worked to focus resources to stop violence in our communities because it's hurting us. She's working to fix a justice system that creates chronic poverty. These attacks on Kim Foxx are disgusting and despicable. Kim is focused on working where our city needs her most, and today I stand proudly with Kim Foxx. All right.
There we go.
Next person I want to bring up has been a consistent voice, calling out the ills of our city.
Reverend Meeks.
But he just doesn't call out those ills from our city. He puts action behind it. He puts work behind it. Today we're so glad to have Reverend Father Michael Pfleger.
Across the street, the Fraternal Order of Police is holding a rally to challenge the decision of the state's attorney's office. This is the same FOP that stood behind Jason Van Dyke and defended his slap on the wrist sentence of 81 months for murder as fair. This is the same FOP that stood behind 3 police officers who covered up the murder of Laquan McDonald and called their acquittal right and just. This is the same FOP that has been an obstruction to justice in this city for years upon years, standing with and financially supporting bad cops who have murdered young black men in this city. Now, whether people agree or disagree with the handling of the Jussie Smollett case, let's be clear. The attack on Kim Foxx is not about Jussie.
That's right.
Rather, it's an excuse to try to remove a strong black woman who comes in the office as state's attorney to reform it, who has sought to release people wrongly convicted and deal with and transform a bad bail system and unfairness to black and brown people in this city, and create a new mental health and diversion committee, and stop that constant revolving door that's going on everywhere 26 in California. The attack on Kim Foxx is not about Jussie Smollett. Let's get it straight. That's a front. Rather, it's about trying to remove a person who is a threat to the old boys system of power in this city and in this state. So my message is this: to the FOP and all those standing with her who decided they want to destroy Kim Foxx, understand, you are not taking on just Kim Foxx.
That's right.
Rather, you are taking on masses of people who want and demand change in the city of Chicago. So, disagree with her if you want, but take your damn hands off her. Change is going to come whether you want it or not.
Thank you, Michael Pfleger. Next, I want to bring up
Join this church.
someone throughout our city who keeps us on the front line, someone who throughout our city keeps us throughout history, has been on the right side. That person is Reverend Jussie Jackson.
Reverend.
Let me express my thanks to those who stand here today. This issue is not just about black and white, it's about wrong and right. 50 wards and 77 communities in the city and the county. It's not just about Kim Foxx. When Mr. Sessions said he was conflicted by the Russian probe, he asked Mr. Rosenstein to take over. He appointed Mueller. We accepted the idea of the recusal. Kim said, I received some calls, maybe I should not have taken. She put Mr. Magid in charge of the case. Based upon how they process nonviolent crimes, he made a decision. There would be a long trial that they could not necessarily win. And so the person talked with Mr. Magid, not as you talked with Rosenstein, not just talk with Kim Foxx. Since you took office in December, there have been some notable accomplishments. Revamped the Office of Conviction Integrity Unit, resulting in overturned convictions in over 60 cases, including the first ever mass exoneration in Cook County for 15 men whose convictions stemmed from misconduct by a police officer. There's been a lead in bond reform, instructing prosecutors to agree to recognize bonds where appropriate, reviewing bond decisions in the case where people are detained because they're unable to pay bonds of $1,000, taking lead in prioritizing resources in a very different way. I'm concerned as the election is over tomorrow. Difficult, challenging election. The election's over tomorrow. We seek healing on Wednesday. I asked Mrs. Lightfoot and Prewinkle to sign a document this past Saturday morning at Rainbow Push to agree to have a joint press conference on Wednesday morning. Election's over tomorrow night. Let the healing begin. Same police officers were protesting. They expect to be respected, and they come to our communities as police officers next day. They come not as friends, they come as occupying forces. It happened when Harold Washington became mayor.
Right.
Yeah.
When Dave Dinkins was mayor of New York, the FOP led a rally on Dave Dinkins, led by Juliana, how he became prominent. And now, Kim Foxx, by extension, the next mayor of our city. We cannot help but compare this with the Qur'ans as we seek one set of rules to measure justice. One measure of justice is consistency. The man shot 16 times, and police chief and the mayor knew about it. They covered it up.
Right.
According to Mr. McCarthy, they covered it up and gave the family $5 million in hush money. The reward's $130,000. Just take 10% interest off of $5 million. That's $500,000. Just take some of the interest off of the $5 million hush money. It was given away 16 months, 400 days, spanning an election. And then LaQuan was accused of coming after the killer with a knife. We saw him run down the street, shot 16 times in the back, 6 times while lying on the ground. This officer, based on the judge's discretion, gave him 81 days, 81 months. The killer of Adele Pendleton got 84 years.
Right.
She was unfairly killed, innocent, beloved child. She should be living today. But 81 months, 84 years is quite a gap of disparity. We seek justice. We seek to have a city where black, white, and brown can learn to live together as brothers and sisters and not die apart as fools. We seek justice today and fairness. If a people would be rather to talk with us and not talk about us, they have a big rally there, a kind of white nationalist rally. Armed white men having a rally with guns and badges is a dangerous occupying force. We deserve a police force that's sensitive to the community that they serve, whose taxpayers pay their salaries. Thank you very much.
All right, Reverend.
By the way, what the short setting, Jamal, is that this was the first, Van Dyke was the first officer convicted in 50 years. First officer convicted in 50 years. He broke a string of 50 years of police officers killing and not being convicted.
We're going to take a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Reverend Jackson, you brought up that Kim Foxx perhaps took a call that she shouldn't have taken, and yes, she recused herself, but did that not in some ways compromise everything that happened in that office after?
It did not. When Jefferson Sessions realized that he had some relationship with the Russian meetings, he recused himself.
Right.
Number 2 guy, which was Rosenstein. She got number 2 guy who was Majette. He accepted responsibility to follow their guidelines. That's no, and he made, essentially, the person who was interested in talking with her, and him, a white male responding, undermines the narrative of a black woman being unfair. Right. Mr. Majette is the person to talk with. You don't talk with the Attorney General about Russia, you talk with Rosenstein. That's one set of rules. You look at the work she has done while we're so concerned about the sense of outrage. I saw the mayor run to New York and police chief. If they had a trial, they could very well have undercut the trial by tainting the jury. Why were they upset about the Kwame? They had the tapes. Over an election span, they had the tapes. They had the tapes. $5 million in hush money. Hush didn't work. Police who shot him 16 times, 6 times on the ground. 81 months minus time served. He did a penalty on another high-profile case, 84 years. We simply want one set of rules. Yes, ma'am.
Have you or anyone here been in touch with Ms. Foxx, and why do you feel the need to be so public about your support?
The attacks on her are so public.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
Across the street.
and also there's an election tomorrow. Some might look at this as being political. Is this political?
Yeah. The attacks on, yeah, we have the right to vote now. We have the right to be political. But being political does not mean that you're immoral. You can't be political and immoral at the same time. There's something to be said about the role that she has played. Police now recognize we had at one time 10,000 youth in Cook County Jail on pre-trial detention. Today there's some still there, 1 to 5 years of pre-trial detention. When Father Pfleger, some of us at Christmas time began to ask to pay the bail, should them face a judgment release on because they've been in pre-trial longer than the sentence would have been. We paid to get something out of jail at Christmas time. The press can ignore that. I guess why I'm talking about the press part here, because it seems that that is a trial in the newsroom rather than the courtroom. The flames were blown every day. Somehow Smollett got what other people don't get. He did not do it. He got what people get all the time. Prosecutors all over the city.
More questions from here? Judge Jackson, given what you said in the context of what you said, what do you make of Superintendent Johnson's allegation?
Following his boss. Maybe get upset, he got upset. Maybe get tickets and stuff back. That's about it. But the point is, he said that in today's paper, he knows the police will lie. Said it. Well, it's become outraged about them trying to keep them rules on. But the FOP contract to get them the right. The right to withhold punishment until 30 days when they're sober. The FOP contract is established by definition. We want healing. Cannot have healing to take glass out the woman. And that means justice must prevail. We'll hope the elections over tomorrow, and that'll be new leadership in our city. And when that takes place, we hope the healing begins on Wednesday morning, not tomorrow night. And let's get on with our business.
Last question in the front.
Ma'am.
What's your message to, what is your message to the mayor and to the top police superintendent? They've been very, very hard on Kim Foxx.
Our message to the top cop and to the former mayor is simply this. As he tries to become a commentator for CNN or somebody, or maybe Fox. Our position simply is this, that why weren't they as outraged about Laquan McDonald? And numerous other cases. A 15% conviction rate of those, you got 85% of those who murder people walking out the streets. Murderers are walking the street, they second and third killings. There's been no sense of outrage about trying to find them down. And we have data now on the records of the police who were given an assignment to look for them or that thing. Some of them have, 3 of them have more charges against them than 93% police force. They themselves were gangsters. One more question.
One last question. You know, we live in really interesting times, especially here in Chicago. We've got our fair share of spotlight for mainly negative reasons so far in 2019. I simply want to ask you, with the Smollett case now seemingly wrapped up, what do you say to some of the young African-Americans, some of the LGBT community members who feel like their thoughts, their opinions, their information that they might be getting a cost to themselves someday might be second-guessed as a result of what's happened here? What do you say to that?
So voting has consequences. Because we've begun to vote. We've shifted the paradigm to have people more connected with the broader community in the city. Tell them that voting does matter. That's why you'll have an African-American mayor tomorrow night and the county exec. You'll have officials, but there are 3 powers, and I'm concerned about the other 2. Blacks are elected more to politics. The white appraisers, the media, cast judgment on us. The business people, it's South Africa. Black elected officials, white media does the appraising, and the corporate interests remain the same. So in Chicago, you'll have black elected officials, then you'll have Sun-Times Tribune, and the press, the appraisal power. What do I mean by appraisal power? If you were to buy your fiance or your wife a very expensive diamond ring, she decided because you bought the ring, you're glad you did it to show your affection. Someone said you may lose it. Take it downtown and get it insured. And somebody closed one eye and said, oh, that's worth $25,000. No, I pay $50,000. You'll be insured at the appraised worth. The media praises us. We just open both eyes and appraise fairly. We have a case right now where people with better houses are assessed less. Those worse houses are assessed more. So even housing appraisal is a factor against where we live. When you deal with Smollett, you happen to raise a bigger issue than Smollett. He takes the scab off of big cancer.
Right.
And I would ask us, since we're going to get into criminal justice, let's look at criminal justice. When Reverend Father Pfleger went to jail a couple of years ago, the police chief told us 75% of all the guns that kill people come from one shop. We know what the shop is.
Right.
There's not one black gun shop in America. The mayor said the guns come from Indiana and Kentucky. We know where the guns in, drugs in, jobs out. What young people can do is join this fight and not be, no one has the right to be a referee or an observer. Everybody has the right to be involved in this struggle, because if we were not speaking out, silence is betrayal.
Yeah.
She's done a good job and she'll do a better job in the future.
Come on, guys.